So I wanted to spend the last few minutes of my talking, and then I promise I'll open it up for questions, just briefly going over some other ways of rethinking how we care for this population and other areas in which you can spend your energy advocating. So the first would be to bolster current home care supports. So, over and over again, I hear that there are insufficient home care supports through the government, that they get a variety of personal support workers who come in that are different every day. And when you have someone who's got cognitive impairment, you need consistency, you need to learn to work together, you need to learn to trust each other. These mostly racialized women are not respected enough, are not paid enough for the work that they do, which is so hugely important. And so, improving the pay and the frequency and the number of hours allowed to keeping someone in their home and supporting family who are also often spending, here it comes, the noise overhead, their time doing this is hugely, hugely important. So in Alberta, they have an interesting idea of doing a pilot of something called Cash for Care, where they give the money directly to the families to use, or the caregivers to use as they want to help them. So that might be hiring private care, or it might be, just like buying groceries or whatever needs to happen, supporting income if they can't themselves have the income they had before because of caring for their loved one. There are pros and cons to this: less oversight, more flexibility, but there are pros and cons. There's also a pilot as well here in Ontario of community paramedicine program, where the paramedics, and my brother's a paramedic, so very much support this, can not just bring people to hospital, but can also help to support people in their homes to prevent hospitalization and provide additional support. But there are day programs as well, where people with cognitive impairment or dementia can go to programs during the day and give their carers a break and have food and have activity that's stimulating and have professionals working with them. And this can be really, really helpful. I tell every carer that I work with that this is a marathon and not a sprint, and they need to take care of themselves in order to be able to take care of their loved ones. That comment before about the dyad, it's essential to find respite in some way or another. And then finally, there are the idea of rethinking what long-term care actually looks like. So long-term, this is the Dementia Village in the Netherlands. It's a long-term care home that is paid for by the government, that is a much more home-like setting with few people living together in a home-like environment, and they get to choose the type of theme of the home that they like. The workers there are dressed in regular clothing, there are activities that they can engage in, and they can walk around and it's safe. And they speak about how the behavioral symptoms of dementia, reactive behaviors, are sharply decreased in this kind of more humane setting versus a large institution where it's more like a factory kind of a setting, where there's, changing people on the hour, like on specific times, rather than when a person wants to be changed, etc. It doesn't need to be quite this dementia village. There's a partner program with a community agency called Loft, connected with CAMH, and they are using what was prior longer term depression unit that is very home-like. And when I saw this, it's a transitional unit while people are waiting for long-term care, I thought, wow, people's behavioral symptoms are going to disappear in this setting, because the staff were so warm and they were dressed in normal clothes, and it was like this small place where they had nice furniture, and it was very warm and welcoming and calming, just the physical plant. So another place to advocate is, we don't just need more long-term care beds. We need more long-term care beds. We don't just need more, we need long-term care beds that are built in such a way that they support the dignity of people who have cognitive impairment and dementia, and that will actually make everybody happier in the space that they're working.